Palestine, tomorrow will be free. Palestine, tomorrow will be free. I was so far from you, yet to me you were always so close. I wandered lost in the dark. I closed my eyes to all the signs you put in my way. I walked every day further and further away from you. Oh Allah, you brought me home. I thank you with every breath I take. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah, all praises to Allah. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah, all praises to Allah. I never thought about all the things you have given to me. I never thanked you once. I was too proud to see the truth and prostrate to you until I took the first step, and that's when you opened the doors for me. Now, Allah, I realize what...
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, listeners and viewers. You're listening to Radio Munadil Islam International, and this is your host Ibrahim, and I have two special guests here. Police Officer Mark Bailey and PCSO Yunus Dada. If you have any questions for them, you could text us or WhatsApp us on 07510769997. So welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Right, so a message came in.
Yeah.
And Salams, how do you go apply for a PCSO job? I believe you've answered that. If we look on the website and all the description, there's a person specification is there.
Yeah.
Also, this is the tough one. Also, you hear about racism in Leicestershire Police Force a lot, especially within ethnic minority groups. What are you doing to combat racism?
Well, I think it'd be interesting if the listener maybe texts back, because we need to know which part they want to talk about. Are they referring to racism as in they believe there's racism within the organisation of other police colleagues, or do they think it's racism as in the police to members of the public? I'll answer both though.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, before, when we had the break, you was talking to Yunus, and he was sort of explaining to you his own personal experiences of being in the organisation nearly 12 years now, and he's never experienced any racism towards him. Which is why I'm a bit surprised about the question, unless it's a member of staff that we don't know about. Right. But we in Leicestershire Police, we have a robust department called Professional Standards Department, and they have a system where we call things like bad apple reporting. So if there's anyone that has got any concerns about racism, about the code of ethics of the standards of police, then there's a way for someone to report that anonymously against another member of staff. When I've looked through most of like the misconduct results on members of staff and officers, I think I've rarely ever seen any issues in relation to racism. So I'm a bit surprised by the comment in relation to, and that goes the same really for public complaints. If there are complaints from the public, I mean, that's why you'll see on my vest, and you'll see on Eunice's vest, we've now got the body cam cameras. So when we're attending incidents, we're much more equipped to record not only what we're saying, what we're doing, but also the responses and what people are saying back to us.
Right.
And they've been a fantastic tool for us to not only collate evidence, but also to identify if there's false complaints, and it does happen.
Right.
On the other side of it, there are incidents where poor behaviour has happened as well, and then that comes down to an investigation and that officer being held account for his or her actions.
Right.
But as a police officer now for 20 years in the organisation, I'm confident that we're in a good place where any complaints are looked into and investigated.
Right.
And we've got better kit today.
Right.
So the worries and concerns that people may have had years ago, there's a lot more opportunities today to try and capture that, or make sure it's sort of not even happening in the first instance. So we are it's a change in sort of a relationship or involvement of the police in any way. In any case, since '97, I know things have changed dramatically in those 20 years. They really have. And we're constantly changing. Policing never stands still.
It's always changing.
It's amazing that wheel gets reinvented every couple of years, isn't it, Eunice? And it still looks the same. Might have a different bit of tread on it,
right,
but the wheel's still the same. But we still keep trying. Maybe reduce 1 or 2 spokes, put more spokes. Let's do an alloy wheel now. Let's go back to a steel wheel. Or I don't like that tread. Let's use this tread. But that's what policing is.
Right.
And we probably joke about it, to be honest with you. Or we're doing the same thing again. Or we did that 15 years ago. Why didn't it work 15 years ago? We're going to do it again. But that's how much our organisation has to keep on trying new things, old things, and even with, like, for example, dealing with our incidents. We might deal with an incident some way today. It didn't work. But we go back to repeat sort of individuals, but we might have to revisit that again in 6 months, a year, 12 months, 14 months time, and we try that again. It all comes down to what's the circumstances. Have they changed? Has it changed for that individual? But the question was about racism. And I think for me, I'm fairly confident that our organisation does do its best to tackle it.
I've got another message come through.
Good stuff.
Right, so this is Salam's good show. Want to say both PCSO Dada and PC Bailey do a fantastic job and understand the local community and have good local knowledge. But we need more like them on our streets.
That sounds good. That's a really positive message.
And that's by Brother Mohammed.
I certainly thank Brother Mohammed for that. That's very good to hear.
That's great. Brother Yunus, let me ask you a few questions. How many miles do you walk a day?
Well, if you look at his boots in the other room, you'll see how much that tread gets worn
New
away.
year in, and he's probably on his second pair of boots.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Keep change. Usually 6-7 miles a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you have the Fitbit watch to tell you?
It's in my mobile.
Oh, it's in your phone.
Yeah, it tells me how many
Alright,
kilometers I walk. Usually around 5.5. It's not busy. If it's busy, then around 6 to 7 miles.
Right. So to join the police force, there is a fitness test.
Yes, there is a fitness
How is
test.
that? Is that just a medical report from the
Oh,
doctors?
it's multiple sort of things, but you have to do a bleep test.
Okay.
Which is currently 5.4. So you're doing the
like
shuttle
years
runs.
ago.
You did it years ago. Yeah. Well, when I joined, it was 7 points. Now it's gone down to 5.4. You've got a push and pull machine. Used to be press ups and sit ups, but now it's a push and pull. And then there'll be various sort of fat sort of tests.
Okay.
Medical with doctor, eyesight test.
Eyesight.
The
And
height
this is
thing's gone now.
Same for PCSO?
No, it's different, isn't it?
Okay.
When we started, we used to have it, not anymore.
Ah.
But you never had a fitness test, did you, for PCSOs before?
When I started 2006, we
Yeah.
had a fitness test, big test and everything.
Ah, okay.
Now they've taken it out.
Now
As
they
long
say-
as you're healthy, you
Okay.
don't have any illness.
Well, you're going to be walking 6 miles a day, so
Yeah.
you'll become healthy.
Because sometimes
Yeah.
when you join in, or you are too heavy, or maybe you've got some problems.
I mean, it is,
It's demanding.
it is a very demanding role, but both the roles. But as a police officer, you're probably going to be on. Well, we're both on shift patterns, but as a police officer, you're likely to do night shifts as well. So it can be very challenging on your body and mentally as well. Some of the things you have to try and juggle in your head with different incidents that you may be dealing with.
So what are the hours of work like? It must be different for you and different for
They're quite similar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so. For example, I mean, my pattern does include night shifts, but they're only once every sort of 9 weeks.
Right.
Whereas Unity has no night shifts, and we pretty much work the same days, but or the same hours, apart from at the weekends I work till midnight and he works till 11.
Them, they can get called any time for doing a late
True.
shift until early hours in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got that.
Excuse me. So generally speaking,
Yeah.
for police officers, you're likely to be kept on more.
Yeah.
To finish off a job that you're dealing with, whereas PCSOs is a lot more sort of they try to make sure they do finish on time within their allotted
But
sort of shift pattern.
You have more paperwork than him.
Yes,
Probably
definitely.
at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. It's like what I was saying about
Yeah.
accountability and responsibility. That at the end of the day, the book would stop with that police officer, and you're going to have to justify why you're not.
Yeah.
There is a level of that with a police community support
Okay.
officer, and then there's a next level up for a police officer. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I believe we have a question here. I've not gone through it, so let me just go ahead and read that. Hi, my question today is, why is it that the police department are offering lots of unpaid work opportunities to people that qualify? We don't see this in the fire department, for example. Is it the government's plan to just save money, avoid paying people for their hard work, and expect more people to work and not be paid? Most people in the UK do not have huge savings to support their families and do unpaid work as much as they would like to.
I get the question
Yeah.
completely. You know, I can't come to work and pay a mortgage, or I
True.
can't volunteer my time. I need to pay for a mortgage and pay for my
But you know,
bills.
the voluntary hours, I believe it's not, you know, they don't need to do so many. I believe there's 8 hours a month or something.
Yeah.
Depends on
Is
what
it
you're volunteering
voluntary?
for.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. But even then, you're not under any sort of contract or obligation in relation to. You're not going to suddenly find that you can get fined for not turning up. But obviously. It's the listener that texted in is quite right that we have been under a sort of a reduced budget since 2010, and so we've got to adapt and work with that. There's not much more we can do other than work with what the money's being given to
True.
us, and because of that, we have to do things a little bit differently and try and think of ways of encouraging people to get an interest in the organisation. And yes, if it's about volunteering,
True.
then that's one way we've got to explore. Because if we don't explore it, then we or my chief officers wouldn't really be doing their job
No.
to try and do that. You with me?
right,
And we've
yes.
always had special constables. For many years, we've had special
Right,
constables.
okay.
It's not something new in the police service, but I think and anything to drive against volunteering
Right.
is obviously a political sort of thing, and something more the listener needs to bang on to his relevant MP and go to Parliament and sort of say what they desire if they think that it's the wrong thing and they should be really pushing really sort of increase the public sector. But it's a good way of an individual to find out if that's the career that really is for them, you know, because one of the things, because policing is quite a fine art in some respects,
It is, yeah.
and it is very challenging, and it's not something you want to be sort of jumping straight into.
No.
You know?
Just a little thing I'd like to say. When I was back in the States, working as a imam and working with the community, it is very different there, because here we have loads. There in one city there's one, and that was me, sheriff of the town. So I used to go out with them on patrol, sometimes with the city police or the sheriff, some other federal authority. I would go out with them, and it is very challenging. I do understand the hours of work. Once I volunteered, okay, I'll do how many hours you do, and that was nearly like over 24 hours.
Yeah, it's a long,
because something happened.
Yeah.
But we'll cut to a break. We'll come back. I have a few more questions for
Sure.
you.
Yeah, very
and
good.
we've got texts coming in. And
excellent.
I just have to
Well, it's really
go
good.
through
That's-
them. and
that's really
that's good. Okay, so we'll be right back. Listeners, viewers, do not go anywhere. Text us your comments, questions on 07510 769997. I am here with PC Mark Bailey and PCSO Yunus Dada taking your questions.